Hello there fellow gamers, my name is Ashes and I welcome you all to the channel. Today we are playing Red Dead Redemption number 2 online, and this is another ASMR reading. So we're going to be continuing with our reading of Far Cry Absolution, and we're gonna be doing some hunting on Red Dead. Now I'm gonna be doing this differently to how people usually hunt on this game. I'm gonna be taking my sweet arse time with this. We're gonna be doing this kind of realistically, because I say that because I don't know how to hunt in real life, because I don't need to, you know, shops and, you know, all that. But I'm sort of going to be doing this realistically, looking around, sneaking up on animals, so I don't scare them off, things like that. Also, as you can see, I'm taking my time. I'm not rushing around everywhere. I'm just travelling in line with the wagon in front, enjoying the game, because this is what the game's all about. People are moaning about lack of content. They've not done anything for a while in this game, and I agree with them, but a lot of Red Dead players don't appreciate just what this game is, you know. It's not just about getting from A to B, rushing around as quick as you can. Take your time, enjoy your surroundings, immerse yourself into the game, do things slowly, take your time, just enjoy yourself. You know what I mean. The story mode of this game is one of the best of all time, because it was so well put together, and they took their time. They didn't rush into it. You know, they didn't go straight into the action. The entire first chapter is about getting to know each character, pretty much, seeing them struggle to survive. And it's the same with online. Doing things in this game is easy. Sorry, not easy. It's time consuming, but you enjoy taking your time. And anyway, let's get to the book. I got off track there. So we're going to be hunting bisons, deers. I'm hoping to find a Kruger, maybe, or bear. We're going to be selling them to the local butcher in Blackwater, the town. And this video is going to be at least half an hour. So we're going to get some good reading time in this one. Got my first kill there. Anyway, let me take the front cover off the book. Okay, let me find where I was up to. Okay, so we are on page 86. Mary May is close to finding her brother. Well, she's close to the Church of Eden, where she hopes to find him. Will is now on his own after having a fight with Lonnie, and he fell over a cliff and plummeted to his death. Will is now trying to find Mary May and save her. Now, not save her the way the Church of Eden believe. He wants to actually save her. He doesn't want her to be a part of the Church of Eden, to believe their lies, and he wants to catch up to her before they do, and they brainwash her, and anyway, let's start the reading now. We're continuing with Mary May. Let's see what happens. She had grown up in the county, and she knew these roads. She knew the forests and the mountains. And though she had never gone this far into the woods, or off the paths that lined and connected many of the lakes and mountains in the area, she knew where the county road ran the edge of the Eden's Gate property, and she charted a course in her head to get there. Pines and aspen on the slope, then paper birch below that ran out and moved across boggy lowlands a mile on. She'd have to cover all the way down the slope into the lowlands before she started coming across sedge and grassland right before the road. She took one last look over the edge of the rock outcropping before she turned and moved down slope. A couple 100 feet on, she came to a dead stop and looked back up toward where she'd been. In the exact spots she had picked to lay upon her belly was a man seen standing at the top of the rise, there looking down on her. Will did not put the rifle on her or even make a single movement. He stood atop the small rise and looked down toward her. She had grown up considerably since he'd last seen her. She wore jeans and a t-shirt and a dirty, zippered sweatshirt. She carried her boots in her hands. She stood there looking back at him, and if she recognized him at all, she did not show it. She was off and running before he could say a thing, and for only a second he let her go. He knew where she was going, and though she had removed her boots and changed her track, he could see now that he would have little trouble following her. What did concern him was the ache and sickness he had started to feel at his core. He was moving now, slightly bent over with a hand across his belly, where Lonnie had connected with a fist and then delivered kick after kick. Will knew whatever damage had been done, a bruised organ or cracked rib, the adrenaline of his fights with Lonnie had hidden it. And now, as he went on, the feeling was wearing off, and each step seemed to pain him further. He watched the place she had been standing. Then he set off. Down the rise and came into the wood. For a moment he could see her running, the lights coming through the pines above flashing on her as she moved. He took several steps forward, the ache and pain in his stomach now showing on his face. He stopped and looked to where he had seen her last, but she was not there. He wondered how much time he had. He wondered about Lonnie and what Lonnie had said to him before Will had moved and watched the man go over. Then, standing there, he bent double and the insides of his stomach came up and splattered across the ground. He went down on a knee and the relief he felt was almost immediate. He could breathe again, and the muscles of his stomach had come free from the knot that had bound them up so tight. Will could see blood in the vomits, and he wondered again what evil thing might reside within him. Whether it was an ulcer, or whether it was simply Lonnie beating the shit out of him only a half hour before. But there was no time to dwell on it, as he rose to his feet again, then looked back the way he'd come. John and 4 of his men were still out there, and if any of them were trackers, they would come upon him soon. Will looked back upon the rise and the path he'd taken down from it. He was unsure what to do. He was unsure what would happen or what had been meant to happen all this time. John had said he wanted to help Mary May, as John and the father had once helped Will so long ago. Will turned and looked again to where he had last seen her. He'd lost too much time and he knew it. She was scared and now she knew she was being followed. He called her name low at first, and then stepping forward he cupped his 2 hands to his mouth and yelled her name. He had said he would protect her. He had said he would keep her safe and he would help her. But he could not do that if she ran. He could do nothing for her if he could not catch her. He called her name again. Mary May, he called. He let the name linger in the air, and then he yelled again. Mary May turned and looked back the way she'd come as soon as she heard her name. She hesitated, and for a second she thought about stopping, but there had been no denying the fact that she had been shot at, that the man who had likely shot at her was out there following her still, and that like a hunter using an elk call, this man was hunting her, calling out her name, hoping that it would stop her and draw her near. 20 minutes later, Mary May saw the road. She had backtracked and cross-cut the forest behind her in such a fashion that future archaeologists, looking over the casts of her movements in the mud, would wonder if she were not already wounded in some way, delirious and headed straight for whatever tar pit might be close at hand. She came out of the trees into patches of dogwood and mountain ash. Dotted here and there were clearings of sedge. Her legs burned slightly, and her hands and forearms, though tough from years of working the bar, were scratched and dealt with minor cuts and bruises. She had no idea where the man who hunted her had gone, and she had seen no more of him. She stopped and just listened to the forest. Then Then, satisfied he was gone, she put her boots back on, one at a time. A mile or so up and over the ridge was the sound of a big truck running down through its gears as it came out of the northern. Sorry folks, I can't get the page. There we go. Of the northern mountains. She tried to listen for more, but all she fathomed from it was that perhaps it was a lodging truck, though that seemed false to her, the church already having bought and closed the mill years before. When she reached the road, she did not go directly out. The light was fading, and she was beginning to feel the cold. She had no way of knowing exactly where Eden's Gate was, whether it was right or left, but she was certain it was on this road. She was shivering slightly. The dusk was settling in, and the thought of spending another night out here was beginning to weigh heavily on her mind. She stepped now onto the road, and she began to run, feeling her lungs beat inside her chest, and the air move across her skin. When the headlights broke from around a bend in the road far off and spread their light toward her, she was quick to drop off the road and hide herself within the underbrush. But the vehicle did not pass her by. It stopped 50 feet away, its headlights reaching out across the pavements, and the dusky light of the setting sun giving everything a tinge of auburn red. She heard a door open, then she heard the sound of boots on cement, and she watched the shape of a man walk out and through the light of the headlights as he came toward her. She backed now, increasing her distance, almost certain she would run. Almost certain she would need to dive headlong through the brush. That whoever had seen her would go after her and finish whatever had been started days before. But when she heard her name, it was not the same voice she had heard calling to her in the mountains. It was not John's voice or any she had heard in a very long time. She stood now, and she came forward. She heard her name called again. She walked up onto the road, almost disbelieving she had found him, or that it was him that had actually found her. "Drew," she said. He stood looking down on her from there atop the road. He was thinner than she remembered, but bigger in the chest and in the shoulders, and though he was bearded, his skin and eyes were much the same, and she knew he was the same brother she had so often thought about, and that her father had gone to find. "Drew," she said again, just to say it, just to speak his name, as if she feared she might not get another chance. "It's me," he said. He walked forward and put a hand out, and he pulled her from out of the roadside ditch. He was a few inches taller than her, and he pulled her into him and hugged her, holding her for a long time. "You heard about Daddy?" she asked, "and Mama?" He let her go. He stood close to her, his arms still holding her shoulders. "I heard," he said. "I heard what happened. He tried to come and get you." The tears were coming now, and she could not stop them. She looked away and he pulled her close again, and she could feel the way he held her. She could feel the way his lungs moved, and she let her head down onto his chest, and she cried for what seemed a very long while. When she was done, when she had pulled away and had wiped a hand across her eyes, he said, "Let's get you home. Let's get you somewhere warm. Let's get you some food and water. Let's get you somewhere safe." She looked at him for a time, and she stood there waiting and thinking of what to say next. She could hardly believe he was there, that he had found her, and that he would take her away from this, and everything could be the way it had always been meant to be. "Come on," he said. He started to lead her back to the truck, but she stopped. Then he stopped. She was looking at the insignia on the side of the truck, and then she was looking up at him. "The truck? You're driving one of their trucks? One of their church trucks?" He looked at her like she might be crazy. He ran his eyes from her to the truck, then back again. "You're going to be okay," he said. "You're going to be just fine. I'm going to take you home. You'll see. I'm your brother. You're going to be fine with me." She looked at him. She let what he had said sit between them. "You'll take me home?" she asked. "And you'll come with me?" "Yes," he said. "Now get in the truck and let me help you." Will came to the road just as the brake lights flared on and the truck moved away. He watched the tail lights until they were gone from sight. He had seen the road from higher up, and he had seen the truck stop. Then Mary May come up out of the ditch with the man standing over her, offering his hand. Almost in the same instant, Will had gone crashing down through the dogwood and ash that had started to populate the land. He came out into the clearing before the road, knelt and swung the rifle round and looked through the scope to where the truck had parked there in the middle of the lane. Mary May was holding on to the man, and Will put the crosshairs on him and waited for the man to release her. When he had stepped back from her and turned toward the truck, Will could see him now, clear as he had seen Mary May, standing there on the mountain looking back at him. It was her brother, Drew. Will let the rifle down, and, with one knee still down in the dirt of the field just before the road, he watched both siblings climb into the truck and drive away. Now he walked the road for 50 feet and then stood looking out down the empty pavement. The light was all but gone. The blue of night settling in, and he could hear the chirping of frogs in the ditch at the side of the road. When he turned and looked opposite, he found a lone maple tree standing in the middle of the clearing. And though it was not yet late summer, the leaves had turned and many had begun to fall and litter the ground below. Will came down off the road, took a wide step across the ditch and walked out into the field. The ground was boggy, and in places he could see a foul mud that held atop it a greasy oil. When he walked almost to the tree, but stopped just before it and stood looking up into the branches, knowing for its height and width that it had lived a long time in this place, and might have lived even longer had the earth itself not changed. As he stood there, he could see several leaves come loose, then drift down. The tree was not barren, but it likely would be soon. When John's voice called to him from behind, Will did not turn. He kept looking up at the tree and wondering just how long it would go on. "You did good," John said. "Mary May is with us now. You helped to save her." Will turned. John stood there looking at him. Further on, back by the road, his men were standing, all of them with weapons held crossways in their arms, tired looking, but at rest. "And Lonnie?" Will asked. "He said he meant to kill her." "Yes," John said. "I saw how he was going. I should have seen it sooner." "Sooner?" "It's drinking, the loosening of his faith. He was not a true believer," John said. "He was breaking away from us, breaking away and falling in among his own past sins." "That's why you tracked us? That's why you followed us up here? Up the mountain?" "Yes," John said. "I could not trust him. I did not know if I could trust you. Lonnie used to say you were an enigma." A leaf fell again, and it fluttered and flipped, end over end, then came to rest between them. "Enigma?" "It was not the word he used," John said, "but I see now that he was the one that could not be trusted. I should have seen it earlier. I should have known all of it. All he said and all he did was all leading up to this. I did not mean to kill him." "You didn't kill him," John said. "He would have never done a thing like that. He simply fell. He toppled over a cliff, and he fell and broke his neck. It was an accident, and all of us could see that clearly. His blood is not on your hands." Will locked eyes with John as he put a hand to Will's shoulder. "You're still one of us." "You're parts of who we are. You have provided us with a service, and we are thankful for you and all you do. There is no shame in this. Once you had owed us everything, but that time has long passed, and it is us who now owe you. We will take you back to Eden's gates, and there you will receive your blessing, and we will give you a place to rest and help you just as you have helped us. You are still with us, aren't you, Will?" "Of course," Will said, not knowing what else he could say. "We have given you salvation, but you too have given us your soul." "Yes," Will said. "I know that. I never stopped knowing that." "Good," John said. "The Father would be glad to hear it. He waits for you. He waits to give you his blessing once again. You will stay at Eden's gate tonight, and you will be my guest. And the Father's—" John took his arm away. He turned to go. Will stopped him. "What about Mary May?" "You don't need to worry about her," John said. "You may well see her soon enough. She is with us now. She is with us just as she is with her brother. Both of them are now a part of us. Okay folks, so I'm gonna stop the reading here. Now, this video was meant to upload a few days ago, actually, last week, but after I rendered this video, I had a look through it, I watched it, and part of my voice recording was missing. It said it had been deleted, but I don't remember deleting it. Maybe it was just a mistake. I was meant to delete something else, but I deleted the wrong part. There was a big gap where, at the very start, before I started reading, there was a big gap, and then it carried on halfway through the read. So I had to delay this video. But as you probably know, I did another video of a new book, Stranger Things, and that's going to be happening regularly as well as this book. But I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a decent length, I think. Now, you may say that I could have read more in this video, gone through more pages, but I'm not a fast reader, and I wanted to put more effort into my reading, get into it more, things like that, you know. I didn't want to just whiz through the book, whiz through the pages, get as much as I could done. I wanted to be in the moment, so I wanted to enjoy and take my time. So, and to me, it sounds like I've done a better reading because I've put more effort into it. Do let me know. Let me know what you think. But we're gonna end this video with a drink in the saloon. Sorry, my stomach went then. I'm gonna park a horse here, and we're gonna walk into the saloon after we put our guns away. Sadly we can't put our pistols away, but don't matter. So we're going to head into here and have a nice drink of beer after a hard day's hunting. Not a hard day's, but a good day's hunting. I enjoyed that quite a lot, and I enjoyed this read, and I hope you all enjoyed this too. But until next time, take it easy, and I will see you all in the next one.